things going. Thank you for coming. Celebrate the girls tonight after a great season. It was a lot of fun. I always joke with my wife because she always gives me a hard time after basketball season because I go through like a week and a half, 2 weeks of just being like moping around and bored. Because I love it. This is the best part of my school year is basketball season. This is my 6th year coaching. And the past couple years it's been great because all of my players are past students, unless you moved into the district after 4th grade. But it's always been a big thing for me to have them as students and kind of get to know them that way, and then see them actually playing basketball and like being players, and I'm more a coach than Mr. Ball. So and this season was obviously a special season, just because of, we're all wearing masks and it was kind of different this year. But out of all the teams in the league, and really all the teams in our district, we were very fortunate not to have like a full team quarantine. And if we did have to do anything, most of the time it was because something from another team. So as a district, and as a Lebanon Junior High, we did a really nice job of doing what we needed to do in terms of protocol for COVID, and we should be really proud about that. I know some of us had to take a little time off for quarantine individually, but as a whole group, we might have been one of the few teams in the entire league that didn't have to really take that step in any direction like that. So to me, that was a big win for us, and being able to kind of navigate in this kind of weird season. It was definitely strange. Tonight we're going to recognize the young ladies that have worked so hard this year, and we have some scholar athletes. I have your first year patches for the junior high, so everybody gets one of these. And then I will be awarding the Warrior Award and the Most Improved for this season's basketball team. Right off the bat, parents, thank you so much. You guys are a big part of getting to practice, and I know with us, me being at another school, my time of getting out is a lot later. So girls, I appreciate you also waiting around a little bit for me to get here, because we had to have a little bit later practices, and that's mostly because of my teaching schedule. Big thanks to my sister. A lot of people don't understand that we are siblings and not married. So I try to squash that like right at the beginning.
And some are still confused. They're like, wait, you're not together? I'm like, no, this is my brother.
Without the mask, if I shaved my face, we'd look a lot alike. So, but no, Coach Ball has, that's why I call her head coach. She's structured, scheduled, and knows how to get a hold of all of you really quick. So our success is, your guys' is mine, and then really hers as well. And I know she's excited for next season because if everybody comes back and things stay the same, she's looking at a very, very talented team. And,
yeah, and I will speak from more like the teacher type side, because of course, yes, I coached you guys as well as Coach Ty. But parents, like you girls, I see them in the hallway, I say hi to them, I talk to them on a daily basis, and I would have to say this is a really good group of girls. Like, I see how they treat each other in the hallway, and they walk around, and sometimes I blend right in, and they don't know like I'm around, but the stuff that they do in the hallway and the academics that they teach, they're a special group of girls,
Yeah.
so you should be proud. Because I get to see them every day, kind of like eyes in the school in the hallway.
yes.
You should be happy that you blend in, because when you get old,
Right.
Camouflage, yeah. So, parents, big thank you. Girls, a big thank you to you. It was a very enjoyable season. Probably, now don't tell other teams that I've told you this, but it was one of my most enjoyable seasons, even though it was fairly difficult in terms of the schematics of everything. But in terms of knowing that each game, each day that we were going to be together, we were going to be on track, doing what we needed to do while still having fun with it, and that was important to me. One of the best records I've had as a coach, we went 10-6, and that includes the tournament games. But going back through the book, the teams that we didn't quite make it past were teams that were there to fill the schedule. These were, their top 10 of the entire school. We normally wouldn't have played them in our conference anyway. What I took from our season was we were undefeated in our conference. We led the season. There was no one even close to us because we beat every conference team twice, and we beat them pretty good. So that to me was I took that as a big win for us. And then some of the teams, were a mix of 7th and 8th grade teams as well. So for me, we had a very successful season, and I know even those games where we fell short, it was only by a handful of points, and it could have been referees. Let's say referees. But outside of that, really, parents, I'll reiterate that this is a fantastic group of young ladies. They did everything that they needed to do throughout the course of the season. Each and every one of them grew in big ways throughout the course of the season, from the start of the year to the end. Even those losses, we took what we learned from them when we went into practice the next day and really applied it for the next game. And I know for some of us, and Avery's not here because she would be the first one to raise her hand, but the fundamental, the kind of repeating stuff that we do in practice, I know sometimes that we roll our eyes and we huff and puff about it, but from looking at the beginning of the season and the scorebooks at the end, we scored substantially more in the end of the season because we were doing those things. The extra passes and the points right under the basket. And I feel like if we continue that throughout the off season, or if you're playing in the off season throughout the summer, that next year when October rolls around, it's not even going to be an issue for us to just get right back into the swing of things. And we know what we're looking at next year in terms of our schedule. So I foresee another very successful year. Even those teams that aren't quite in our conference, they should be worried. I'm going to go through and start us off by doing 2 quick awards here. We have your participation, patch, and then I'm going to recognize our scholar athletes, which to me, as a teacher, even though it's an art teacher, the scholar athlete, while being in a sport, is extremely impressive to me. That means you're handling schoolwork and you're coming to practice every day, being ready at the games every game. So I think a balance of those 2 things are extremely important. So I want to recognize those players that, hit the honor roll this year during the season and did a really nice job with that. So when you hear your name, come on up and collect your awards. Peyton. Lily. Avery. Natalie. Rachel. Ava. And then we have Jaden and Bertha. So that's this year was, like I said, and I'll probably say it 4 or 5 times, just because it was a really fun season. Parents, you've been great the whole time. I know, there was times where practice had been canceled or switched around with locations. So just being really transparent with you guys and getting the girls where they needed to be on time and picked up on time and everything. I know that's a lot, especially some of our games that are away, making it out to that. So with checking my list here. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and jump up for our 2 awards here and just talk about them a little bit. I'll start with our most improved. Now, these are always difficult, and it's always those things where we're told we only have these 2 awards, and that I would be able to give out individual awards for everybody, just because each player on the team contributed something special along the way each way, whether it's Peyton has the strongest arm on the team. If I wanted the ball way underneath the other basket, I'd have Peyton throw the ball, and that's just the safest bet to go. So with the most improved, I took it based off of the entire year. I took it off of how the time spent was being used and things were being done, and throughout the course of the time that they were in the game. And the player that I selected for our most improved, I really saw the growth throughout the course of the year. The attitude was always there. She's always willing to learn, always willing to ask the questions to make sure that she's in the proper spot, proper position to do what she needs to do. And then she's there at practice every day doing exactly what she needs to do to become a better player. And I think that mindset carries on not only academically, but then throughout the course of the off-season going into next year will be really impressive. So for this year, my most improved player is Rachel. Really worked hard this year, deserves it, and took a lot of bumps and bruises for us. I think if I were to go through and check off all the times you're at the foul line in the last like 6 games, it would be like a dozen. So, and some of those really helped us in getting those close ones just that much closer for us. So you did an awesome job. Now the Warrior Award. Warrior Award is really the hardest one because there's a lot of different, levels you can really talk about in terms of, is it an MVP? Is it, a person who scored the most points or anything like that? And really the Warrior Award is the individual that comes in every single day, puts in the hard work, has the great attitude, and really is consistent throughout the course of the entire season. And although I feel like we have a ton of that on our team, one individual really stood out to me throughout the course of the year, and it's been really fun watching it. Like really fun seeing the development throughout the course of the year and how it's been, just getting higher and higher as the year goes on. And without giving it away, this player also did one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my coaching career. So Ava, you are our Warrior Award winner. We were in an 8th grade game. I'm sure some of you have heard it. And she hit the game-winning 3-pointer. And I was keeping book, and I was up on a stage, kind of like up there. And I was jumping around like a crazy person because it was one of the wildest things I've ever seen. And 6 years coaching, and that's probably going to be the one thing that I'll always remember. And then I spent the whole weekend telling like complete strangers about it. So I think throughout the course of the year, she maybe sat out 5 minutes, and it was because we couldn't lose the amount of just energy, just constant. Like it made me tired watching her play because minus the time you almost got your eye knocked out. But other than that, we put you back in at the end of the game. I think like you ended up maybe but it was just hard work all around, and it spread throughout the entire team. And that to me was a kind of an MVP moment, is being able to really come in and just work really hard every game, every practice, and just have a really happy attitude about it all. Like I maybe saw you upset once or twice, and it was kind of not really, you didn't really need to be upset. But overall, I've been very fortunate. I appreciate you parents to allow me to coach your young ladies here. I look forward to seeing everything next year too. That's the best thing about being the 7th grade coach, traveling with 8th grade, is that I get to see my team go again. Like I'm going to go to her awards, and it's going to be a little hard for me because I practically had those girls for 2 years, and just seeing the growth, being able to be around you guys again is going to be a lot of fun because I'm stuck at Donovan. You all get to still see Coach Ball and hang out and stuff, but I got to just ask her how you all are doing most of the time, and hoping that you're all staying out of trouble. So to close things up, Again, a big thank you. I love this job. I loved you guys as students, and being your coach is just a little extra gift that I get every year. And parents, another big thank you. It's been a blast. And I know that Coach Ball and I are planning on getting both of the teams together here in a couple weeks to do a kind of a paint party at my studio in town. So we'll be contacting everyone to do kind of an end of the year thing with everyone. But outside of that, I mean,
No, yeah, well, I'm super excited. Like I was really upset when we couldn't scrimmage the 7th graders anymore after Christmas break, which was another challenge within our season, was that because these girls gave my 8th graders a tough time.
Yeah.
And it was good for us to scrimmage against them. You guys did not back down, you just went, and that was good for my team. So I know that going into next year, I hope that you all play. I know all your strengths, I know weaknesses and areas we need to work on, so that is nice knowing ahead of time because I watched you guys all season. So hopefully you had fun this year. That's our number one thing, is like building character, having fun, and building those skills as well. And so hopefully you have a memorable season with us, and going into next year it'll be exciting to pick up where you guys left off.
And if any of you are playing for AAU teams or rec teams over the spring and summer, reach out to us because we'll be up there. We'll make signs and stuff, get loud. Because we don't get, I mean, we're on the other side, so being in the crowd, we like to be loud and embarrass you a little bit. But other than that, again, big thank you to all of you. You know, I missed the season already. It's been weird not being able to. I mean, I see you guys every day from October to like February, middle of February. So it's I go through a little bit of basketball withdrawal. But then I realized that you guys will be back around in the fall, and it starts over, and we'll see great things coming out of you guys, and have parents back and everything. So big thanks, and you guys did a great job, and I'm proud of each and every one of you. And I look forward, if you have any spring sports or basketball or anything, get a hold of us. We love going and cheering you guys on, and reach out to us anytime you need. And I appreciate you all coming out tonight.